So jumping back and forth in Rhino and AutoCAD, you can do the same process in Rhino itself. So since this was a 2D drawing that we made, and this 2D drawing is what we exported or imported, what you can do is to clean all of this stuff up, whoops, Control Z, while you are in Rhino. Okay, so all that lines that you don't see, you could clean up there. Huh? So whether you do it in the front end or the back end, it's going to be up to you. Personally, if I'm doing this in Rhino, if I'm making the model in Rhino, it's probably easier just to have this thing right here and then kind of refer to my three-dimensional drawing so that I could just go back and forth right in the program. Because the import exporting is whether you import a cleaned up drawing version or a version that's a little bit, you're basically doing the same work, right? Okay, so it's whether you like to work in one program or the other. Okay, so that's that. The other thing is that in AutoCAD, all of these lines came in, and they may have come in all these little broken bits and pieces, or right now it's okay. Okay, but there may be some lines that are overlapping each other, especially because we took like a two-dimensional view and then flattened it, and when we selected by crossing, it selected all the object in Rhino. So all of these stuff, when we just say select everything, it selected everything. So when that imported over, it may have imported into AutoCAD with a bunch of different lines. So to get rid of that, what we need to do is to use this command called OVERKILL. So type in OVERKILL, enter, and then select everything, or Control A to select everything, and then say enter, and it'll give you all these settings and stuff. What we want to do is if we want to keep some of the layers that's been brought over from Rhino, we do that. Some line times, if we want to keep those. Since we have a pretty easy drawings and we didn't do any of that, we don't need to bother with that. Tolerance is pretty high, so we'll just keep it at that. And then in the option, optimize setting with polylines. Okay. Combine collinear objects that partially overlap. So that means that if there's a line that partially overlaps, it'll turn it into one line. Okay. Combine collinear objects that are aligned end to end. So sometimes there's lines that are touching each other end to end. Okay, and that will be combined. No. Okay. So let me demonstrate right here where sometimes it is a good thing to keep this and this line separate. Okay. Other times it's good to have it all turned into one line. When we do our line weights, it might be better to keep those as separate. Okay, so we're going to try one thing, which is when we do the overkill, we're going to not select that option. So overkill, select all the objects, enter, and then we'll uncheck combine collinear object when aligned end to end, and then say OK. So if you read through your command prompt, in my drawings there were 4 overlapping objects. Okay, so those overlapping objects were combined into one line segment. So if we check one combined into one segment or just deleted. So when we check this line drawing right here, so it is still separate lines, so that's good. These guys right here, it is bunch of different lines. Right, so that may be good as well. Okay, so this is separate line, this is separate line. Oops. There are times when you do want all the combined lines to be together, right? So if I wanted all of these lines to be in one, I would do the overkill command. And just select those pieces. I'll just select this one. Okay, and enter. And if I combine collinear objects aligned end to end, that line should have turned into one line. Okay, so as you get as we work on line weights a little more, you'll kind of figure which lines need to be together, which ones don't. So those are 2 ways to select if we want it to be together or not. So again, we will come across this a little bit more in detail when we cover line weights. Okay, so basically what I need you to do is to clean everything up that kind of needs to be cleaned up. This is fine. To finish all of this up, okay?